Today, we are going to practice two things. We are going to practice using the phrase had better, and we're going to practice the expression can't stand something. The phrase had better is similar to the word should, but with an extra idea. When giving a recommendation, should means it's a great idea, it's the best idea. When giving a recommendation using had better, it means it's a great idea, but it also means if you don't do it, you will suffer. Something bad will happen if you don't do it. Had better is a warning. Example, I feel sick. I feel sick. Maybe you would recommend some action for me. I'm sick. Tell me it's a great idea to rest. You should. You should rest. This means it's a great idea to rest. If you use had better, it changes the idea because this is a warning. You had better rest. You'd better rest. You'd better rest means the rest is the best idea, and if you don't do it, something bad will happen. You'd better rest or you will get sicker. There's some kind of consequence. We will also practice using can't stand, which means can't tolerate or hate. Example, Mary hates lazy people. We can use can't stand here. Example, Mark hates lazy people. We can use can't stand here. Mark can't stand lazy people. We can change the focus from people to situations. Instead of saying he can't stand, and then the thing that you hate in noun form, we can use can't stand it when, and then a full sentence. Both are very common. He can't stand it when, we need a full sentence. People are lazy. He can't stand it when people are lazy. Welcome to the Professor English podcast, where we don't just talk about English, we practice English. My name is Ryan, and I am your host, and today we are going to be practicing our English while exploring how to use had better. Have you ever struggled understanding the expressions that so many English speakers use? Today's exercise will help you improve your understanding because we are also going to practice using the common expression can't stand. We will work on accuracy by practicing had better, while also practicing our listening and speaking skills. I know how challenging it can be to communicate effectively in a new language, but by participating in this exercise, you will be one step closer to confidently expressing yourself in English. So let's get started. I will provide the prompts, and we will have a conversation together using regular spoken English. If you prefer some visual help, just go on over to my YouTube channel, Professor English ESL Class. Now, let's dive in and start practicing English. Here is a situation. Lisa is lying to John, but this is a mistake. Let's make a why should Lisa tell truth question. Why? Why should she? Why should she tell? Why should she tell the truth? Why should she tell the truth to John? Why should she tell the truth to him? Here is the reason. John hates liars. John cannot tolerate liars. Let's use can't stand. He can't stand liars. She should tell the truth because he can't stand liars. Because he can't stand liars. She should tell the truth because he can't stand liars. Should is perfectly fine here, but we can use the phrase had better also, and it will change the idea. Let's change the sentence and see how it changes the idea. Instead of saying she should tell the truth, let's say she had better. She'd better. She'd better tell the truth. She'd better tell the truth. Should means good idea, but had better means do it or some kind of bad thing will happen. There will be some kind of consequence. Bad consequences. She'd better tell the truth. She'd better tell the truth. Something bad is going to happen. She'd better tell the truth because he can't stand liars. She must tell the truth or something bad is going to happen because John hates liars. Maybe he will stop being her friend. That could be bad. Maybe he will tell her other people and no one will want to talk to her. Or maybe people will stop trusting her. She'd better tell the truth. Something bad is going to happen. She'd better tell the truth because he can't stand liars. There's another way that we can say this. When we say he can't stand liars, we're focusing on people or personalities. But we can change the focus and talk about situations instead of people. To do this, instead of saying he can't stand and then noun, what is that thing or person he doesn't like, we will say he can't stand it when, and then we'll use a full sentence to talk about what situation does he hate. He can't stand it when, full sentence. He can't stand it when people lie. That's a full sentence. People lie. She had better tell the truth because he can't stand it when people lie. She'd better tell the truth because he can't stand it when people lie. Okay, let's look at another situation. Mary has a date with Mike, but Mike is considering canceling even though the date is supposed to happen in 5 minutes. Mike should keep his date with her. Let's make a why question. Why keep date? Why should? Why should he? Why should he? Why should he? Why should he keep his? Why should he keep his? Why should he keep his? Why should he keep his date with her? With her? Why should he keep his date with her? Why should he keep his date with her? Here is the reason. Mary hates flakes. A flake is someone who never keeps their commitments. It is a negative word. It means someone is extremely unreliable. She can't tolerate flakes. She hates flakes. Let's use the expression can't stand. She can't stand flakes. She can't stand flakes. He should keep his date with her because she can't stand flakes. Should just means it's a really great idea. Let's change that to had better, which means there could be some bad consequence if he doesn't keep his date. He had. He had better. He'd better. He'd better keep his date. He'd better keep his date. Keep his date. Keep his date. He'd better keep his date with her. With her. He'd better keep his date with her. He'd better keep his date with her because she can't stand flakes. Using had better means if he cancels, there will be a bad result, a bad consequence. We can change the focus from people and personalities to situations by saying, she can't stand it when. She can't stand it when. And then a full sentence. What is the situation that she really hates? She can't stand it when. Let's use a phrasal verb. Flake out. Can you guess what flake out means? People flake out. She can't stand it when people flake out. He'd better keep his date with her. He had better keep his date with her. He'd better keep his date with her because she can't stand it when people flake out. He'd better keep his date with her because she can't stand it when people flake out. Wow, you're doing a super duper job. Let's keep it going with another example, but first a quick reminder. If you find these exercises helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, Professor English ESL Class. By subscribing, you'll never miss another lesson, and you'll continue to improve your English skills with ease. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please be sure to hit that like button. It may seem like a small action, but it means a lot to me, and it helps me to create more fluency and listening comprehension exercises that you like. So let's keep practicing English and take our language skills to the next level. Here is another situation. John was giving a presentation, but Lisa had some questions and she wanted to interrupt his presentation. This was a bad idea. Let's make a Why should Lisa question? Why should she? Why should she avoid? Why should she avoid interrupting John? Why should she avoid interrupting him? Interrupting him. Interrupting him. Interrupting him. Why should she? Why should she avoid interrupting him? Why should she avoid interrupting him? Here's the reason. John hates interruptions. He can't tolerate interruptions. Let's use can't stand. He can't stand interruptions. She should avoid interruptions because he can't stand interruptions. Should is a word for suggestions, meaning it's a really great idea. But if we use had better, it's like a warning that something bad will happen. She had better. She'd better. She'd better avoid. She had better avoid. She'd better avoid interrupting him because he can't stand interruptions. Maybe he will get angry. Maybe he will stop the presentation. Some bad consequence will happen if she interrupts. Let's focus on the situation instead of... let's put the focus on the situation. Let's use he can't stand it when. He can't stand it when. People interrupt. He can't stand it when people interrupt. She'd better avoid interrupting him because she can't stand it, because he can't stand it when people interrupt. She'd better avoid interrupting him because he can't stand it. He can't stand it when people interrupt. All right, congratulations. You made some fantastic progress today, and you learned some great English words and phrases. I'm so impressed with how far you've come in such a short time. Remember that practice makes perfect, so be sure and repeat this exercise several times to really internalize these concepts and to improve your listening and speaking skills. It's been really fun practicing English with you today, and I hope to see you again soon. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the like button. See you in the next video with more interesting words and phrases.